Brooke Carver, a college professor at Pemberton University, makes her way to the college one fine morning. The golden leaves of the trees and lush green grass are enough to uplift anybody's mood. Even when her phone pings with a timeline notification, reminding her of the relationship she had until 1 year ago isn't enough to dampen her mood. Ethan, one of her students, meets her right after she deletes the memory notification on her phone. He tells her that he and Claire are engaged. Brooke congratulates him, genuinely feeling happy for them. Ethan and Claire were volunteers who participated in her study. They met during those times and soon started dating. Though they haven't decided on a date yet, Ethan wants Brooke to join them on their special day, once they confirm a date for the wedding. Brooke is flattered. She also calls the newly engaged couple stars because they are the first couple in her study to get engaged. She excuses herself as she has media training. At the training, Vince pretends to be a TV reporter and asks Brooke some questions about her study, the dating test. She describes how the test helps in finding your ideal person. The couples go on a series of dates wearing a watch-like device called the attraction tracker that records the heart rate, dopamine levels, pulse ox, and several other indicators. Then the question arises, how do you know that they're your ideal match? The level of attraction to another person is measured on a scale of 0 to 100. If they score 95 and above, you've met the one. Vince further asks her that love has a much deeper understanding than just a series of chemical reactions on a score sheet. How does her study validate that? Brooke stresses that physical signals are far more reliable than things like emotions. According to her, feelings are like relatives at Christmas. They come and go. Even though people have found love through feelings and emotions for as long as one can remember, Brooke doesn't believe in this convention. She feels because there is no scientific proof of the connection, more than half of such marriages end in divorce. So far, this study has only been tested on students. She doesn't forget to mention that a student of hers told her he is engaged to the person he took the study with. They both scored above 95. Vince asks her if the dating test is her crowning achievement. She says it is just the beginning as there is so little research on the science of love. She has a long way ahead. She almost forgets her closing line, which Vince helps her with the placard, and she reads to the camera that at Pemberton University, we conduct research with heart. With that, her media training gets over, and she proceeds to practice answering the possible questions one might ask during her lecture. Brooke has a very bigoted concept of romance. She exemplifies Jane Austen and describes her work as drama, heartache, and corsets. She argues why to rely on some abstract gut feeling about someone, when you can have quantifiable results that tell you if that person is the one for you. But she is interrupted when Rebecca comes in. Rebecca is the university's president. She asks Brooke how her speech is coming along, and Brooke is more than ready. It is just a preview of the study she will give in tonight's lecture, because the official study will release in 2 weeks. She tells Rebecca about the teaser she recorded with Vince. Rebecca is beyond pleased, and as a little banter, she says she never thought one of her professors would get more TV time than her, the university's president. But she is not complaining. Brooke's research has put the university on the map, and the authority plans to take full advantage of its newfound stardom. Rebecca also talks about their new branding slogan, Research with Heart, which she thinks edifies the research because it is not just about data. But Brooke has her doubts when it comes to feelings. But she is wise enough to keep her thoughts to herself in this conversation. Rebecca continues with her visionary ideas that Brooke's study can get them, and how they intend to increase enrollment, funding, or maybe even improve their position. Brooke is humble enough to know her study alone cannot bring all this to the university, but Rebecca thinks otherwise about her star professor, or if she may call her dean. Brooke is taken aback for a second on hearing this. Rebecca clears that they had a meeting with the board, and everybody on the board mutually thinks that Brooke would be the perfect new dean of psychology. However, the final decision is yet to be taken. With that, Rebecca wishes Brooke good luck for tonight's lecture, and then she leaves before adding no pressure. Brooke is happy at the new perspective as her smile doesn't fade away even after she is left alone. While having coffee with her friend Carly, she recalls what has happened since the morning and that they are thinking of making her the department dean. Her friend doesn't shy away from telling her how weird it would be to have her as the boss. Brooke doesn't show much enthusiasm at the opportunity, because this will render her less time for her research, which she loves doing the most. Their conversation then shifts to Brooke's life after her last relationship. She doesn't intend to get into a new relationship anytime soon. The last time she got her heart broken, now she wouldn't let anybody stomp on her heart again, which is ironic because she is the expert on love. She defends herself by saying that she is an expert on the science of love, which entails studying the reason why the heart race, the pupils dilate, and the palms sweat. This is why she developed a love test. She wants to help people find love. Carly poses a hypothetical situation to Brooke. What if she finds a guy who scores 98 on the attraction tracker? Brooke doubts she'll ever get a guy with George Clooney's looks and Einstein's intelligence. She doesn't need a man to fix her dopamine levels. She has chocolate for that. She takes out a bar of chocolate from her purse and offers Carly. But Carly refuses as she is going to get her dopamine boost tonight because she has a date. Brooke asks her if she is going to use her test on him. Carly says she'll ask only a few questions just to get a glimpse of what she can expect. Before leaving, she takes Brooke's chocolate just in case she needs it if her date doesn't go well. At Jolly Rover's Rescue Center, Dr. Ryan Bennett is asking Molly, the dog, if she is in pain today. He loves animals very much and treats them with care and affection. Molly has a tender leg and winces when Dr. Ryan touches it to inspect it. A nurse inquires about Molly's health and when she will be ready for adoption. Dr. Ryan gives about a week's time. With steel gray eyes and a cute face like Molly's, she would be adopted in no time. The nurse reminisces how they had only 5 dogs when they started, but Max, one of the elderly dogs, reminds them there were 6 by barking at that very moment. Dr. Ryan points out to exclude Max because he is not for adoption. He then instructs the nurse to take Molly back to her kennel and ensure she is comfortable. She asks if there is anything else, to which Dr. Ryan replies he needs her advice because he is going to a talk at the university with Taylor, his girlfriend. The two have been a bit rocky, so they are trying to mend things. The nurse asks him to get her flowers as every woman loves flowers. Maybe sunflowers because they are bright, cheerful, and they bring good luck. Before the lecture, Ryan goes to a flower shop. After browsing around, he finds the sunflowers are sold out, but soon spots a bouquet made of sunflowers and takes them to the counter. There he meets Brooke, who is waiting for her order. She compliments him on the bouquet. He thanks her, saying a way to a woman's heart. And her brain, as Brooke adds. He doesn't understand, so Brooke breaks it down for him that when a person receives flowers, their brain produces pleasurable feelings. He is disappointed as this takes the romance out of it. She apologizes for being geeky. Liz, the shop owner, arrives, calling Brooke her favorite customer. She asks for her flowers, and Liz points out that this lovely young man is holding them for her, referring to the bouquet Ryan is holding. Liz then takes it from Ryan and gives it to Brooke. She then adds that she got Brooke the last bouquet. She had saved the best for last. Brooke calls her the best as the flowers are indeed very beautiful. All this while Ryan is not able to say anything. When Brooke starts to leave, he calls her out and says it is his flowers. Ryan retorts, asking if the flowers have her name on them, and she shows him the card on the bouquet with her name on it. It is a standing order. He cannot argue with that. She suggests lavender, which is good for aromatherapy. He needs a little more convincing, so she starts counting its benefits as it cures insomnia. He says he sleeps like a baby and he's good in that arena, now that he feels it is getting worse by the moment. So he tries one more time to convince her, and asks if she could share half of the flowers in the bouquet with him. She is unwilling to do that, but he pushes, saying he needs all the luck he can get. She cannot argue with him anymore and leaves, wishing him good luck. Ryan is at the university and sees Brooke's picture at the entrance indicating she is the speaker tonight. He looks at her and calls her a flower thief. He ends up buying lavenders. Taylor spots him and calls his name. They greet each other, and she asks if Sophie and Kyle are here. He tells her not yet and then gives her the bouquet. He also explains that it promotes healing, but Taylor laughs and says these flowers just promote sleepiness. She excitedly tells him that her new clothing line is out, inadvertently giving the flowers back to him. She starts showing him pictures of it on her phone. Ryan calls them nice, which Taylor doesn't like because these are $1,500 outfits. Ryan laughs at the outrageous prices and asks whether people actually pay that. Now irritated, Taylor replies yes and taunts him by saying that people with money pay that kind of amount, something he had when he worked with Kyle. Ryan is about to say something when Kyle and Sophie arrive. They are all looking forward to the lecture. Ryan asks about the woman giving the lecture, so Sophie describes how Professor Brooke organizes studies on love. And she has developed a wearable biosensor that monitors your body's attraction to another person. Ryan calls it incredible and ridiculous. Kyle tells him that her study will be published in the Psychology Journal. Ryan makes a comment on that too, and upsets Taylor. She complains that everything is a joke to him. Ryan defends himself. He just believes it is not how love works. It is a feeling that hits you like a giant fireball, love at first sight. One should forget about it if it doesn't happen on the first date. The ladies find it pointless to argue with Ryan, so they go to the lecture hall. The men follow. Before Ryan enters the lecture hall, he gives the flowers to the worker standing at the door, and says it is all your fault to Brooke's poster. Brooke is getting ready backstage when Rebecca comes to see if she's ready and tells her that the lecture will be recorded. She wishes her good luck and calls her Dean Carver. Brooke thinks about it for a second and likes the sound of it. Brooke is confident on stage and discusses the highlights of her study. When she finishes, the auditorium fills with the sounds of applause. Ryan, however, is not impressed and keeps yawning throughout the lecture. Then comes the question session. Ryan immediately raises his hand, and Brooke recognizes him from the flower shop. They share a light repartee about sunflowers before Ryan asks her if she has taken the dating test on herself. Brooke explains that researchers don't usually participate in their own studies, so the answer is no. Taylor tries to stop Ryan, but he ignores her protests. Ryan questions the veracity of her research by accusing her of encouraging others to take the test when she's not willing to take the test herself. Saying that people can decide for themselves, she gets a prompt to take another question, and she moves on. Taylor leaves the hall annoyed at Ryan's behavior, and he follows. She tells him how embarrassing it is and that he never cares about anything she is interested in. She is also disappointed in Ryan, because he left a very stable practice with Kyle for his dog rescue center. Ryan tries to calm her down by saying he cares about her, but Taylor is not ready to listen, and she spills the beans by mentioning it is not working out between the two. She storms off, leaving Ryan sighing. Backstage, Rebecca and Vince meet Brooke. They apologize for asking her to move on to the next question because it could have affected the big launch. Brooke doesn't mind and says she can handle the guy. Rebecca offers to edit the video. She then congratulates Brooke on a fantastic presentation. Brooke is looking at the recording of her lecture when Rebecca walks in, assuring her once again that they will edit what happened in the question session, because they cannot afford any hurdle before the big launch. There is too much riding on the big study. Vince also enters her office looking a bit tense. He says there has been an issue. Someone had recorded the incident on their phone, and now the clip is going viral. It is going to affect the study's credibility and Brooke's reputation, along with the university's reputation and all those things that are riding on the success of this study. They declare it an official disaster unless Brooke takes the test. Brooke agrees to take the study. Her plan is to find a single professor on the campus, and they'll be finished in a week. Vince wants to know what if she finds her perfect match. Brooke scoffs at the possibility. At the rescue center, Ryan is showing Kyle his plan to expand the space for more kennels. Kyle appreciates him for how good this place looks. He then shows Kyle the mapped-out version of his plan, which impresses Kyle. So there is no chance that Ryan is coming back to practice as he has his heart set on this rescue center. They talk about Ryan's fight with Taylor, who is not talking to him. He also tells Kyle about a PR, who called from the university to take the dating test with Professor Brooke. Of course, he refused to take the test because he thought they wouldn't even have asked Brooke if she wanted to take it with him. Kyle wants to know what if Brooke agreed to do it. Ryan still would refuse. The PR also offered him a stipend. Kyle thinks Ryan should do it, as it is just going to be a week. Ryan is still not sure, but Kyle poses a possibility that he might get Taylor back because by taking the test, he will show Taylor that he is taking her interests seriously. And he also asks for a cut from Ryan's stipend. Ryan finally agrees. They then discuss how to tell Taylor. Kyle proposes if he tells Sophie, she will tell Taylor. Now with that problem solved, they discuss the second possibility of Ryan falling madly in love with Brooke. Ryan is sure that would not happen because he would have felt something on their first meeting, but he didn't. Now they have nothing to worry. At her office, Brooke is talking to Dr. Matthews over the phone, asking him to date her for a week for the study. He agrees, but before that, he needs to check in with his wife. Brooke disconnects the phone as quickly as possible. At that moment, Rebecca and Vince enter her office, saying the search is over as they have found a perfect match for her to take the test with. Vince tells her he is a doctor, and Dr. Ryan Bennett enters the office. Brooke doesn't believe them and thinks they are joking. Rebecca clarifies it is not a joke, and Ryan has agreed to take the test with her. However, as soon as Ryan and Brooke start talking, they are at each other's throats. Rebecca remarks if the dating test can make these two fall in love. It can make anybody fall in love, considering how opposite their personality is. The next day, Brooke and Carly are looking at Ryan's profile. Carly thinks he is cute, and running a dog rescue center only adds to his charm. Brooke's first date with him is that evening. They also find a photograph of him with Taylor and deduce the flowers were probably for her. But it doesn't matter because it is all for a show. Carly thinks it is fate that they met at the flower shop, and Brooke thinks it is a fluke. She can't wait for the week to get over, but her friend is excited at the possibility of Brooke finding true love. In the evening, Ryan is reading about Brooke. He finds her attractive and wished he had professors as attractive as her. He visits her in her office the next day. Brooke has a spreadsheet prepared for their date plan and its objectives. She hands him a folder of the complete study, a list of questions, and types of dates and makes him wear the biosensor. She explains to him its functioning, and she'll also record the scores after each date. She ignores all his attempts to make jokes and continues explaining the process unhinged. She will also compare their compatibility score on different aspects. The dates they will be going on have been named as an introductory date, a stress-inducing date, followed by a romantic date. She asks him if he wants to go through the list of questions in the folder, but it seems very methodical to him. So he says he is just going to focus on knowing her a bit. She starts recalling all the things she has found about him through social media. He does precisely the same and recalls all that he had read about her the previous evening. They start discussing the list of questions. The first question asks 3 things in common, which is easy as they both grew up in the same city, both are doctors, and both are stumped on the third thing. Ryan asks the next question, which asks them when they sang to themselves the last time. Brooke answers only once, and that is also the most embarrassing moment of her life, which answers question number 16. Ryan tells her that he sings to himself from time to time around the house. For the next few questions, they have identical answers, which surprises them both. In between their question-answer spree, Ryan gets a text. It is an emergency. Brooke proposes to reschedule, but Ryan asks her to come with him. She agrees reluctantly. At the center, he has a dog with an obstructed airway. There is no time to sedate him, so he plans to perform the Heimlich maneuver or the abdominal thrust. He asks Brooke to get away, and in a matter of seconds, he takes out the obstruction. Brooke is impressed at his adroitness. While walking Brooke back home, they start talking. Brooke asks him why did he choose to become a vet. He tells her that his love for animals made him choose the profession. He tells her about the private practice he was doing before he opened his own adoption center, which has been his dream. She tells him that it was her dream to become a scientist. This way, they found their third thing in common. Both have their dream jobs. Before saying goodbye for the day, they discuss their date the next day. They have to choose stress-inducing activity. They also agree that today was the weirdest date as it was planned on a spreadsheet, and they spent their time saving a choking dog. Carly asks about Brooke's date as they practice yoga in the morning. Brooke tells her everything that happens and also laughs because it is funny how things turn out to be. Carly has a feeling something more happened, but Brooke dismisses it. When she asks about the score, Brooke says she will have to recalibrate it. Carly pushes her to tell, and Brooke finally gives in, telling her they scored 88 and 89 respectively. It is a pretty impressive score for the first date, but Brooke thinks it is an anomaly. She is not ready to accept it just yet. They then shifted to Carly's date, which was a disaster. Carly decides that she is going to go for speed dating in the future, asking just 3 questions. Brooke asks her what she thinks of Vince, because she thinks Vince like Carly, by the way he shyly looks at her. Carly clarifies that Vince looks at everybody with that shy smile. On their stress-inducing date, Brooke and Ryan go bowling. Brooke is trying to take a shot, but she can't bring herself to roll the ball. She considers this game evil, whose only purpose is tormenting people and leaving them without dignity. She fears everybody looking at her while she makes a fun out of herself. To help her calm down, Ryan closes his eyes and says he will not look while she plays. She rolls the ball and it goes off the track. Ryan keeps looking through his fingers but pretends he still is covering his eyes. Her second shot is as terrible as her first, so Ryan steps in and offers to show her something. He gives her another ball and stands behind her supporting her hand in his, describes her how to take a shot. She gets nervous as she realizes how close she is standing to him but keeps her cool. She then tries doing what Ryan taught her and gets all the pins in just one shot. She squeals with delight and hugs Ryan. Ryan, too, is happy and lifts her off the ground as they embrace, but soon regain their composure. It is Ryan's turn now, and he takes the most awkward squat stance and throws the ball, getting all pins in the single shot. While changing their shoes, Ryan asks her his score on the previous date out of curiosity, but she doesn't tell him. She only gives him a hint that his score is above 63, which is the score she scored in bowling today. He asks about her story behind the fear of bowling. She tells him that it is childhood trauma. It was her brother's 8th birthday. She was 10. They had a bowling party, and she was getting ready for her turn. So she started swinging the ball back and forth when it slipped, taking down his brother, 3 of his friends, and the party clown. No one got injured, but the ball didn't stop rolling until it smashed the snack bar. It was traumatic for the kids. He then asks if there are other questions left from the questionnaire. One of them is describe a perfect day. So she goes first and tells him a story about her cousin's wedding when she was little. She had lost her stuffed owl and was inconsolable, but she had to walk down the aisle as she was the flower girl. When she got to the church, the bride handed her a huge bouquet of sunflowers and said they would brighten even the darkest day. And for her, they did. Even today, whenever she feels down, she buys sunflowers for herself. It is now his time for his stress-inducing date. He warns her that it can be painful for her, which can be understood when he takes Brooke to a dance studio. They are dancing, and Ryan thinks it is a bad idea, because he has already stepped on her foot several times now. But Brooke encourages him to keep going, and they dance to slow music. They both discuss how they were in their high school, and for a moment, there was a spark between them. They stare into each other's eyes, which only breaks when Ryan steps on Brooke's foot again. Soon the dance instructor comes and pushes them toward each other. They start dancing, but Ryan keeps stepping on her foot, so she asks if she can lead. That works like magic, and they start dancing without injuring anyone anymore. They enjoy themselves thoroughly as their smiles don't leave their face even for a moment. While walking back, she discusses the purpose of the stress date. Since relationships are not always wine and roses, it is imperative they see how they react in times of stress. They discuss how different their approach is to love. While Ryan believes in love at first sight, Brooke thinks one can grow to love someone. She then carefully chooses her words to make him understand that she is only doing this test to say she did the test. She is worried that Ryan may have started to develop feelings for her because she saw his tracker with increased readings. He understands. She then tells him that she is not going to get herself involved romantically with anybody, as she doesn't want to get her heart broken again. Ryan also clarifies that he is doing this to win back his girlfriend. Taylor had wanted to take the test, but Ryan made fun of her. So to make her believe he is taking it seriously, he agreed to the test. Brooke proposes they can woo Taylor by showing her how good he is doing in the test with Brooke. She asks him to join in the video they will be making the next day to discuss how her test with Ryan is going. He agrees to join. Tomorrow is also their last date, the romantic date on the list. Ryan discusses his date with Kyle and shares that he felt a spark when they were dancing. He starts telling him all of Brooke's nice qualities, her fun side that he couldn't see at first. But now that he sees her, he has come to like her more. Kyle teases him for being lovesick, but Ryan tells him that Brooke has made it clear she is only doing this for her study. He discusses his video plan with Kyle and asks him to bring Taylor to the university in the evening. He asks him not to disclose about him being in the video because he wants to surprise her. In the evening, Rebecca and Vince come to meet Brooke before the video recording. They appreciate her idea to invite Ryan. This way, they can link this video to the viral video, and the reputation of the university will be saved. Vince also gives her a new script. She is not sure she can memorize it, but he tells her that everything is going to be on the prompter. Carly also comes to wish her luck. Rebecca reads the test scores and comments that they might be falling in love, but Brooke is still in denial. Rebecca shares how Brooke reminds her of her old self. She had a checklist for what kind of partner she wanted. She met someone who checked every detail on her checklist and married him, but she was miserable. Eventually, she ditched the checklist and followed her heart. Now she is happily remarried. Brooke ponders what Rebecca just told her and looks at their score again. Taylor, Sophie, and Kyle arrive. Taylor is curious as to what they are doing there, and Sophie manages to convince her that Brooke wants to help her, as she understands what it is like to be with someone who thinks they know it all. Ryan meets with Brooke, and he calms her down, assuring her that they will be fine. They can improvise if required. Brooke is not so sure as she doesn't want any surprises, but Ryan reminds her of their witty repartee. But she isn't up for that and wants to stick to the script. Brooke hands him his tracker, and she leaves first. As he is putting on his tracker, he looks at the results and laughs to himself, sure of what he has to do. While leaving, he tosses the script into the bin. The recording has begun, and Brooke reads from the prompter. She then moves on to introduce her dating partner, Dr. Ryan. Taylor is more shocked than surprised to see Ryan as the participant. Initially, everything is going according to how they have planned. Both are reading from the prompter, but Ryan suddenly starts to improvise and asks her which of the dates has been her favorite. Brooke is surprised and stops speaking for a moment. Then she catches up on what he is doing and starts to go along, recounting all the moments from the time they have spent together. Vince gets worried and tells Rebecca they are not following the script, but she doesn't worry in the least. Ryan starts telling her about the spark he felt while dancing, or how he got a warm, tingly feeling when they looked into each other's eyes. He expresses how amazing it is to fall in love with someone after you start knowing them. It is like a heavy blanket on a cold morning. Finally, he says what they have been doing feels right and a little scary. They get lost in each other for a bit but soon come back to reality and finish off the interview, holding hands and sharing their usual banter. Hearing all this creates an awkward situation for Kyle and Sophie. What they thought would be redemption for Ryan, and a chance to bring back Taylor and Ryan together, turned out to be a disaster. For Taylor, it was the end of her relationship. Brooke apologizes to Rebecca for going off the script, but Rebecca doesn't complain. In fact, she liked it and is happy that Brooke took the risk. It is a quality that she is looking for in the next psychology dean. She also compliments that she and Ryan make a great couple. Ryan meets with Taylor, but she looks angry because Sophie told her that Ryan did this for her. But all she saw was Ryan flirting with Brooke. Ryan dismisses it, saying it was an act to impress her. But it would take more than that to impress her. She tells Ryan that she will be impressed if he joins back the practice with Kyle and take the dog adoption thing as a hobby. Ryan is taken aback because the dog center has been his dream. They soon realize what they had was long gone, and the distance between the two cannot be closed anymore. They decide it is best to separate their ways. She then leaves. Brooke walks to him and asks if Taylor was surprised. He says yes. She appreciates what he did in front of the camera and how he tweaked things. Ryan has a look on his face like he wants to say something but decides otherwise. He doesn't share that he and Taylor broke up. After she wishes him goodnight and leaves, Ryan stands there for a long time, sighing and looking in her direction for a long time. Brooke is looking at the footage from the recording, and when she looks at Ryan saying all those lovely things to her, she feels butterflies in her tummy. She is also attracted to him, but she doesn't want to accept it. Ryan is at his rescue center and is happy because Molly is much better now and ready for adoption. He asks the nurse, Jen, to close up tonight. She asks if he is going out with Taylor. He tells her that they broke up for good this time. She confesses that Ryan and Brooke looked cute in their video, and there is a possibility that things might work out, and they end up becoming a couple. He thinks it is unlikely. It is their last date tonight. Ryan and Brooke are on a romantic date. A candlelight dinner, expensive wine, and white tablecloth meet all the criteria of a conventional romantic date. They have also brought each other a gift which they exchange soon after. Brooke asks Ryan to open his first. She has brought him dance lessons at Laurie's. He jokes he will think of her every time he steps on his partner's foot. It is Brooke's turn. She is overwhelmed with emotions as she finds a snowy white owl in the box, similar to what she had lost at her cousin's wedding years ago. She hugs him for such a lovely gift. They hug for a little longer than usual. As soon as she sees her measurements going up, she pulls back, and they sit back in their seats, feeling slightly embarrassed. Ryan asks Brooke if there is a formal way to end the study. She says it is the usual goodbye, have fun, and keep in touch. Ryan asks her if they can have one more date, and Brooke agrees they can go on one more date. A bonus date. They decide on a new experience date as their bonus date. It is a date where they will do something they have never done before. The next day, Carly finds Brooke singing to herself. She also points out that Brooke seems happier lately than she has ever seen her. Knowing where it is going, Brooke clarifies that it has nothing to do with Ryan. Carly points out that it is so evident that she has fallen for Ryan. Brooke thinks that Carly is just making things up. She admits that Ryan is great, funny, and charming in a sweet way, but he is trying to go to his girlfriend. Carly senses something else. Why would he go on more dates with Brooke? But Brooke is too scared to expose her heart. Her plan is to go on the last date, thank him for his participation, and never see him again. On their last date, Ryan visits Brooke at her home. For the new experience, they have decided to bake as neither of the two has baked before. They are baking chocolate chip cookies without a recipe. It is going to be an adventure. They have a lovely time baking cookies with their heart. The cookies turned out to be pretty good, considering they didn't follow a recipe and did what felt right. Ryan finally answers question 11, asking to describe a perfect day. He says that lately, every day is a perfect day for him. She asks how. Ryan wants to show her rather than tell her about his perfect day. He takes her to his rescue center and says his perfect day starts here. He shows her the photos of all their dogs put on the notice board. Molly catches their attention, and Brooke rushes to pet her. Max comes too, as he gets jealous. They take Max and Molly for a walk. Ryan again asks her his score on the test, but she doesn't tell him and says she will reveal it on her launch day. As they stop, Molly and Max start playing and get Ryan and Brooke tangled with their leashes. Ryan suddenly declares that Brooke is in love and she should admit it. Brooke starts saying something, but Ryan cuts her off and says she is in love with Molly, and Molly loves her too. But Brooke keeps the idea of adopting her on hold. Brooke has a difficult time keeping her feelings in check as she can feel the connection between them, but she can do nothing about it. She excuses herself in the pretext of practicing for tomorrow's speech. Brooke's speech looks great as she discusses it with Rebecca and Vince. They are in doubt as to how to convince people that they did not fall in love. To this, Brooke says that they should move on if they haven't reached a score of 95. But she has started to doubt her own feelings as against what her study shows. On the day of the release of the study, Ryan and Kyle are out for a run when Kyle asks him if Brooke is the one. Ryan cannot hide it for long and confirms that, yes, she is the one. But he is not sure about Brooke as she has vowed never to fall in love again. Kyle encourages Ryan to tell Brooke how he feels. Ryan is not sure about it. He goes to see Brooke, who is practicing her speech. He promises he won't take much of her time and just wants to talk with her. He finally tells her that he broke up with Taylor. She is surprised to learn that he had broken up with his girlfriend last week and continued to go on bonus dates with her. He tells her that he went on those dates because he is in love with her, and he was wrong about the love at first sight concept. He recalls how he felt things changed the more time he spent with her. Brooke starts blabbering about whatever is going on in her life and how she has kept herself devoid of all these feelings. Ryan argues that he felt she likes him too. Brooke apologizes as she never intended to slip her true feelings out. She asks Ryan to understand that she can't do this because she has got her heart broken so many times that she has lost a part of herself in the process. She leaves after apologizing. Brooke is revising her speech notes when Carly comes holding a sunflower. Brooke asks her about it, and Carly says she has a bunch of them trailing to her office. She goes and starts picking them up one by one. Finally reaching her office, she finds a big sunflower bouquet at her desk with a note to her from Ryan. He thanks her for their time together and how he will appreciate every moment spent together. He adds that he will truly miss her. He wishes that she doesn't give up on finding love. Her warm and beautiful heart deserves to be shared by some lucky guy. This was his parting gift for her and a way to celebrate their time together. Kyle comes to pick Ryan up for the lecture, but Ryan refuses to go because Brooke doesn't feel the same way. At the university, the auditorium is packed. Everybody is excited about the launch of the dating test. Backstage, Rebecca meets Brooke, and Brooke tells her that she has decided not to apply for the position of dean, as that will not leave enough time for her to do her research, which is her dream. Rebecca respects her decision. Soon she is called on the stage. Once on stage, Brooke shares what all she and Ryan did on their dates, and how she fell in love with Molly. Suddenly someone from the audience asks if they can ask a question. She is about to say something when Ryan stands up. He asks her if she fell in love and found the one. Brooke lets out a laugh before answering yes. She confesses that she fell in love but was afraid to tell the man she fell in love with. She has realized there is more to learn from her research. Love is infinite, mysterious, and much deeper than data. She had given up on love, afraid of her heart getting broken. But her beliefs have changed and now being in love, even for a short time, is worth the heartbreak. Ryan has a big smile on his face as he listens to her confess her feelings. The auditorium is filled with the sound of applause. That day, 2 more people found their ideal match, Carly and Vince. Rebecca steps onto the stage and takes it further by adding that their marketing slogan is research with heart, which Brooke showed tonight. So she has decided to postpone their studies release, as some revisions are in order. She hugs Brooke and advises her to always follow her heart. She then steps down the stage, and Ryan comes on the stage. He couldn't be far from her now that he knew how she felt about him. They start with their usual wordplay, and Brooke thanks him for the flowers. He repeats what she had said the first day they had met, that flowers are a way to a woman's heart. And it is true, as he managed to find his way to her very guarded heart. In the end, they finally have their perfect kiss.